Hi, my name is Beth Burgess and I'm a recovery coach and therapist at Smiles. And I'm going to share with you today some thoughts about the stages of addiction recovery, because I get messages from people saying to me things like, are you more likely to stay sober the longer that you are sober? You know, does the risk of relapse go down? Does it go up? You know, what's it all about? So, I mean, the answer to that briefly is yes and no. Because the amount of time that you spend sober can actually help, but only really if you do work on yourself in recovery. Because you can stay sober for 10 years and do no work on yourself at all, and you'll just kind of be in the same place as you were when you stopped drinking. So it's vitally important to do work on yourself going through recovery. So let me share with you what I think are the sort of stages of addiction recovery that people go through when they're successful at recovering. So firstly, there's that stage of actually stopping drinking and finding the right support. Now this is kind of where you work out, exactly how addiction works, what is necessary for you to recover, and the type of support and treatment you need in order to do that. Now people stay in this cycle for quite a while between relapsing and kind of figuring out what they need to do, because actually, so you can try a few things which aren't right for you and then go through it all again. So that's why sometimes people relapse very early on. So once you've got to that stage and you've found what works for you, and you're finding that you can stay sober, then it moves on to sort of doing the things which will enable you to stay sober and happy. So basically, at this stage, it's doing things differently mentally. So you might start changing your behaviours, changing your thinking, all the sorts of things that are going to support you to deal better with life. And stay sober. So yeah, that's the next stage. Now the third stage is sort of a deep healing stage, because it's all very well going around saying and doing the right things, but a lot of the time people that suffer from addictions have usually started drinking or using drugs or using food because they've basically got some underlying issues that haven't been addressed and haven't been dealt with. So a lot of the time people will reach a kind of little impasse where they feel like they need to do some more work on what first caused them to start drinking, or some feelings that they have that haven't yet been healed up. So that's the time when an addict might seek out a therapist or a coach like myself to work out any blockages and things from the past that need resolving. So that's the next stage. Now, when people have done that, the thing about addiction is it never actually goes away. You've basically, if you've been addicted to a substance or a behaviour, you've built a neural pathway in your brain that kind of, is still there. It's going to remain there for the rest of your life. So what we need to do is build a new neural pathway that's much more positive. Now at this stage, a lot of people find that they sort of feel kind of empty in some way. They'll get to a point, and it could be 5 years on, 10 years on, it could be 2 years on, where they kind of feel like they need to do something more with their recovery. And it's at this point that people tend to get, and I hate the word spiritual, but kind of get spiritual a bit. So basically what it's about is finding something more, finding some kind of meaning in life and in your recovery. So a lot of people, they kind of find that they need to either contribute in some way that's meaningful, or find some path which suits them well to kind of develop as a person, develop spiritually, kind of in a holistic way, if you like. So those are the kind of stages. And the more work you do, the better your chance of not relapsing, basically. So it's not really about the amount of time, although if you go for a length of time, obviously in the beginning of recovery you've got this really sort of, your body's screwed up, your mind's kind of screwed up, and it's very, very easy to relapse then because you don't really know what you're doing either. So having passed that stage, it's easier to stay sober, but at the same time, if you go on for a long time, you risk getting complacent, which is why people do go through these additional stages in order to maintain their recovery, because recovery is always a work in progress. You're always going to be finding something new to work on to kind of enhance where you are and to continue building positive neural pathways, basically. So those are the kind of stages. So if you're struggling at all, or you need a bit of help with getting past stage 1, I have written a book. So my book, The Recovery Formula, is basically a framework for how to get sober in the first place and to stay sober. So it's about finding the right support, finding treatments that suit your needs, and all of those things. So if you've gone past that and you've got sober, but you find that you're fairly unhappy and you kind of need to move on with things, my second book, The Happy Addict, is basically about doing just that. So it's about ways of changing your thinking and behaviour to make you a happier person, and someone that's able to deal with life much better and to be sober throughout it, with no matter what problems you have. So that's a really good thing. In that book, in the Happy Addict, I do start to talk about sort of moving on to the other stages of going beyond what the initial kind of healing is. So there's clues to that there, but I'll probably write another book at some point because there's a lot more to be said about that, but I haven't at the moment. So yeah, I hope you find that useful. Anyway, I'll leave the links to the books below. You can buy them on Amazon. You can also visit my website. I'll leave the link below as well to find out more information about addiction recovery and all those sorts of things. So I hope to speak to you again soon. Take care. Bye.